Hello, today we are going to discuss about Active Directory users and computers and security groups. What is Active Directory? Active Directory is a directory service developed by Microsoft for Windows domain networks. It is included in most Windows Server operating systems as a set of processes and services. Initially, Active Directory was only in charge of centralized domain management, including users, computers, security groups, servers, group policy object, and etc. So to begin with, we'll have to have domain controller running and a workstation running. So let's go ahead and start domain controller, which we have. So we'll go ahead and log in as domain administrator. So that is our domain admin user ID, and even if you click other users, then you'll have to enter the domain administrator logon full. Administrator at contoso.com, not com. I truly forgot. It should be local, and the password, there you go. So our domain controller will be up in a second. How does this Active Directory work? Active Directory, or AD, is a Microsoft product that consists of several services that run on Windows Server to manage permissions and access to network resources. Active Directory stores data as objects. An object is a single element, such as a user, group, application, or device, such as a printer. Active Directory users and computers, in short, we call it ADUC, is a Microsoft Management Console snapping that you use to administer Active Directory AD. You can manage objects, you can manage users and computers, organizational units, and attributes of each. We have got our desktop, and if you exit from this server manager, you will not have anything onto the desktop. So now to get back the server manager, we can go to the search and enter server manager. Then we'll get our server manager back. So there are two ways to start our Active Directory users and computers. So one way is from the server manager. We can click on tools and then click on Active Directory users and computers right there. And the other way is from the start menu. From the Windows administrative tools, we also have the option for Active Directory users and computers. So feel free to use either of these options. So once our Active Directory users and computer starts, we can see the name of the domain onto the left, and this domain has got all these objects called computers, domain controllers, foreign security principals, managed service accounts, users. Computers are those computers that are joined to our domain. So if you remember, WKS1 is our Windows 10 workstation. So that's our computer object. And the other container is called users, where we have got all the users. So what is domain users? Domain users is anybody who has a user account and has authenticated permission within the domain. Their level of rights in the domain could be at any level granted to them. And what is domain administrator? Domain administrator users granted full authority within the domain to access and modify practically anything and everything within the domain. So whenever we created the domain controller, our default user was administrator. Now you can create a user and add domain administrator permission to that user to elevate it to domain admin account from domain user account. So how do you do that kind of job here? Before we do that, we'll go ahead and create some domain user first. So we are in users container. So we'll right click onto the user and then click new and then user, and the first user would be Angelina would be the first name, Jolie would be the last name. User login name, will keep it as standard, first name dot last name, Angelina dot Jolie. Click next and confirm password. We'll have to have the password. We'll have to confirm password. User must change password at next logon. Whenever this user will be created, and if we check this box on, then this will force the user to change the password at the time of the logon. If you use this option, user cannot change password, which we normally do not use. If you check this option, then user will not be able to change the password. Password never expires. Again, this option we do not use that often. If we enable this option, password will never be expired. Account is disabled means account will be created but user will not be able to log on. Okay, let's begin with the first option where it says user must change password at next logon. So we'll go ahead and click next, click finish. Angelina Jolie is created, and the description of this user can be she'll be working for IT department. So the description is showing IT. Now we'll go ahead and log in from our Windows 10 workstation. Input, keyboard, other users. We have got the prompt. The user's password must be changed before signing in. So click OK. We have entered the existing password, it's already there. Now we'll have to enter a new password in order to log on. We'll have to confirm the password. changing password, your password has been changed. So which means if we use that option from the domain controller, then we'll have to change the password at the very beginning. And then let's go ahead and create another user. So right click onto this user, click new, click user, and the second user would be Jane Doe. Logon name would be Jane Doe, and we can enter our password. And we are not going to use this option anymore. User must change password at next logon. We'll use account is disabled for Jane Doe, and click next, click finish. Jane will be working for IT. Click OK. So now we'll go to our Windows 10 workstation, and where Angelina Jolie user was logged on. So we will log her off and log in as Jane Doe to see what message we get, because we have created the user but we have disabled this user. It says your account has been disabled. Please see your system administrator, which means although we have this user account into our Active Directory, users and computers, but the account is disabled. Now, if we go back to the Active Directory and right click onto the user named Jane Doe and click enable account, then it says object Jane Doe has been enabled. And now we'll have to go back to Windows 10 workstation and log in with password. Now it allows to log on. So we just saw the differences for different options. Let's go ahead and create few more users. So we'll create another user, John Doe. John Doe will be working for security department. Now we can say user must change password at next logon. User cannot change password. Which option we can check? Password never expired. We don't want to do that. So user must change password at next logon. We don't want to check that option. And user cannot change password. We also don't want that. Account password never expires. We don't want to have it. Account is disabled. No. Click next. John Doe account is ready. Let's go ahead and change the description. John Doe will be working with security. Let's go ahead and create add a user. Harry Potter, whom I super like. Harry Potter. Click next. Let's enter password. And check this option. Harry Potter is ready too. We'll put Harry Potter in IT as well. Okay. The next user would be Megan Fox. Megan Fox will be working for HR. Description will be HR. So we have got few users. We have got 3 users working with IT, 1 user working with security, 1 user working with HR office. Okay, so we have got all this user. Now we like to add Harry Potter as an administrator. So let's double click on this user. Now if you go to the member of, it says domain users, which means this is just a regular domain user. If you like to make him domain administrator, we'll have to go to add and add the domain administrator security group. Add menace. You don't need to type full. If you enter the check names, still not there. Administrator. Okay, didn't work. So I must misspelled. So I'll enter domain and click OK. So we have got all this option, domain admins group we need to get. There you go. Click OK and click OK. So Harry Potter is only the admin and the rest users are just regular domain user. We can check their security group. So in order to check security group, we can double click onto the user, and then if we click on to the member of tab, then we can see which security group does that user belong to. And now, what is basically security group? Security groups can provide a very good way, an efficient way to assign access to resources onto our network. By using security groups, we can assign user rights to security groups in Active Directory. User rights are assigned to a security group to determine what members of that group can do within the scope of our domain. So for instance, if a user is belong to IT security group, then that user will be able to see only IT related resources. So right now, although we have changed the description IT, that doesn't mean that this user is a part of the IT security group, because we do not have any security group called IT. So let's go ahead and click on those security group or check what are the security group that we have. If you go to the built-in, then we can see all the security groups here, like administrators, access control existence operators, account operators, all the security group. We have got users. So these are the default objects. These are the default security groups whom we can see here. Like if you double click onto the administrators, then you can see members. Who are the members? See, domain admins is a member, administrator. And if you double click onto the domain admins, then you can see who are the members. So we have got administrator and Harry Potter, whom we just added. If you go to the users, then we can see domain admin security group right there, and domain users. So if you double click on domain users, then go to the members, then you can see all the domain users here. And if we double click onto the domain admins, if you click on to the members tab, we can see the administrator or admin users only. Okay, now let's create three security groups. So we'll right click on to the user and then click new and to the group. So the first group will be IT. Let's leave the default option. Group scope will be global and group type will be security. Click OK. Let's create another security group, name HR or HRO. The third one would be security. So now we have got three security groups. HR, it says security group. IT, it says security group, and also security. Now we'll have to add those people, like Harry Potter is IT, Jane Doe is working for IT, and who is this? Angelina Jolie. So if we double click onto the IT security group and go to the members, we can add them. The first user will be Angelina. Check names. And the second name would be Harry Potter. Third name will be Jane Doe. So they will be working for IT department. Will be working for HR. HR would be Megan Fox. So double click onto the HR, or we can go to the Megan Fox user and click member of and then click add, and then we can add HR security group. And now we have got John Doe, who is working for security department, member of, add security. So that's how we can create users, we can create security group, and we can also add them onto the relevant security groups. So now if we go to the IT security group, what would we see? If you click on members, then there are three members. So you can see from this way. You can also click onto the Harry Potter and then go to the member of and check to see who are the groups assigned to these users. So guys, we just created few number of users. We elevated one user permission from domain user to domain admin, and what domain user can do and what domain admin can do. Domain user just like a regular user, and domain user will not be able to install any software, anything onto the workstation. Domain admin will be able to do anything and everything. So that's the difference. And we also learned how to add those security groups for individual users. On our next session, we'll try to see how would we create home folder and assign to each individual user. Until then, keep practicing, and I hope this was informative for you. Thank you.